it's Bon and welcome to my little space online. In this video, I want to show you a new scanning process that I'm currently trying out. I've tried all sorts of home scanning techniques before, from using flatbed scanners like the Epson V600 to scanning with a digital camera, but this time, I'm trying out a dedicated 35mm film scanner, the Plustek OpticFilm 8300i. Now, I've only recently gotten this scanner, so this isn't gonna be a full-on review, but I would like to share my first impressions of the scanner. Also, I'm still adjusting to this new workflow, so chances are my methods will change and hopefully improve as I get more experienced using this scanner. First, I would like to comment on how small the footprint the scanner has on my desk compared to having a flatbed scanner that takes up a lot of space, or setting up all the tools for camera scanning every single time you need to scan. It's also light and fairly easy to stow away. Currently, I'm only using the Quick Scan Plus scanning software that comes with the scanner, but it does come with a copy of Silverfast if you want to use a more professional scanning software. I will dabble with that at some point, but for now, the Quick Scan Plus seems to be enough for my needs. The scanner doesn't have a film autoloader or advancer, so you'll have to manually advance the film tray when scanning. With my settings, each photo takes about a minute to scan, which is honestly not that bad. The settings I use for scanning is 7200 dots per inch and 48-bit color in positive TIFF format. If you're wondering why I choose positive here instead of negative when I'm scanning negatives, I'll get to that in a bit. Once I have all the photos scanned, I import them to Adobe Lightroom Classic for processing. This enables me to have more control in converting my negatives to color images using a plugin called Negative Lab Pro, hence why I scan my negatives as positives. To convert my negatives, I start by removing the orange cast most negatives have by using the white balance tool and selecting the film border. Then I apply this to all the images from the same roll. By the way, if you don't have access to Lightroom and Negative Lab Pro, you can use the Quick Scan Plus software to convert your negatives by choosing the negative scanning feature. Anyways, after syncing white balance on all the film, I select them all and move on to Negative Lab Pro to convert my images. Here I use TIFF scan for the source, Noritsu for color profile, and default for pre-saturation levels. As you can see, this conversion process already results in a nice image, but you can tweak this more by editing the settings. I have a preloaded setting here, but you can experiment with what works with you. For me, I usually use Lab Shadow Soft with a little less contrast, and I use the built-in color profile for whatever film I'm using. Here I use the Kodak profile because I'm scanning Kodak Ektar, although I think this is more for Kodak Portra or Gold. I also edit the mids, highs, and shadows to my liking. Then I choose Make a TIFF copy and hit Apply. This will apply the same settings to all my photos and make TIFF copies of each. This will result in huge files that will take up storage space, but this will let me use Lightroom's editing features more easily should I need to do so after using Negative Lab Pro. I then edit the images further using Lightroom's Develop module. I usually start with leveling the horizon using the Transform panel, and then cropping the image to remove the edges of the film. Zooming into the image, you'll notice that the Plustek scanner does resolve a lot of detail, but I do prefer to add a bit more sharpening to polish it out. And while this image looks clean enough for me, I usually reduce the color noise by about 20. Okay, So to me, the color of this image already looks great, so I don't think I need to correct it. So I then move on to editing dust and scratches. The quick scan software comes with automatic dust removal, but as you can see here, it's kind of shit, and sometimes even introduces artifacts that kill the natural grain of the film. So I should really turn that off. But maybe I'm just not using it correctly. Comment down below if you think I'm doing something wrong. For some final touches, I just slightly edit the contrast and warmth of the image. And since Ektar is supposed to be a saturated film, I just add a bit more vibrance to the image. So that was a best case scenario. Sometimes some images don't look as good immediately when converting using my normal settings. This could happen, say, if I underexpose the film or something. Here's an example of an image that looks a tad blue right off the bat, so I did a lot more editing to make it look like how I wanted it to look like. A lot of times I'm just eyeballing the colors until I'm satisfied with how the overall image looks. But yeah, that's the new process that I'm currently trying out, and if you're interested, here's the rest of the photos from the roll. This is one of the many rolls of film I took while visiting the UK back in 2019. And the reason why I'm scanning them now is because I wasn't satisfied with the quality of scans I got from the place where I got them developed. I really like the vibrant colors of Kodak Ektar, by the way. A lot of people online say it's specifically a landscape or street photography film stock, and you shouldn't use it for portraits because it makes Caucasian skin look pink. But I've shot portraits with Ektar before and it's fine. Here's a few portraits of my friend Raya. Yes, there's a lot more pink in the skin tones on these photos, but I think it's a good contrast to the greenery in the background, so it all works out. I like it. Anyways, here's some more street photography to show how the film works traditionally. Please note that I took these images like 4 years ago, and I kinda cringe at some of these compositions now. But it's also cute to see how Bond from 2019 saw the world and chose to capture it. I mean, they're not bad enough for me to be too embarrassed to show them. I also think that by doing this, I get to reflect on my old work and improve. Asking myself questions like, how would I capture this scene now that I have more experience? Or what could I have done differently to make a better image? Oh, and I guess this is also a reason to keep your film negatives. I can't emphasize enough how having good scans of your film is one of the ways you can get the most out of it. And by archiving your film, you will always be able to remaster your photos later, say, if a new or better scanning technology comes our way. After all, a 35mm film can resolve as much as 175 megapixels. But also, this is not just great for when you get subpar scans, but it can also help if, say, you somehow lose your digital copies. Anyways, I think that is all I wanted to say for this video. My first impression for the Plustek OpticFilm 8300i is that it's a capable dedicated film scanner that can resolve a lot of detail in 35mm film. Just look at this side-by-side comparison of the original scan I got from the lab versus the one I did using the Plustek. I think mine is better and also looks truer to Kodak Ektar's signature look. I think digital camera scanning might still get you better quality, especially if you own a camera with a high megapixel count, but for myself, I find that this setup is more convenient and fast enough. I just wish that it can also scan medium format, but I guess that's a story for another day. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all again in the next one. Cheers!